Hello, everyone. My name is Claude Terrell Hankins. I'm a graduate cybersecurity student at Grand Canyon University, and today I will be doing a lab presentation on Challenger hacking skills. Plan objective for this presentation is to utilize the Metasploitable 2 virtual machine along with the Kali to scan for possible vulnerabilities by utilizing the applications like OWASP, Nikto, Nessus, and also Nmap. Um, with these scans, I'll be able to find the weaknesses that are possible exploitation points for attackers and make corrections as we go. Penetration testing importance for organizations is a valuable way to be proactive in addressing security concerns. Um, Testing allows organizations to address vulnerabilities and possible entry points for attackers. Penetration testing failures. To handle failures in following procedures, it requires a comprehensive approach that addresses the root cause, improves communications among everyone, and promotes a culture of importance and accountability. With actual testing failures, making sure correct network software is updated and correct commands are given play a vital role in the operations. Troubleshooting possible issues that may arise is key to correcting the problem or failures. The first scan performed was an Nmap scan. This scan showed all the open ports of the Metasploitable 2 virtual machine. This is a screenshot of another Nmap scan that was performed. It's a services scan. It provides a more detailed look at the services that are running and the types of versions that are associated with the open ports. Uh, Penetration testers can use this information to see what all vulnerabilities are aligned with the open ports as well. This is another Nmap scan that was performed. It's a services scan that shows a more detailed look at the um, detailed services version of the open ports, along with the operator systems that are associated with the scan. The next 4 slides of this presentation are another Nmap scan that's more aggressive. It shows more detailed information that is vital for penetration testers. It gathers information about a target and shows the possibilities that could be exploited. As you can see, the information provided on this scan, it's the port information, service's name, the service version, and the service banner. This services Nmap scan provides specific software version information. It captures banner information to the services and the certain ports that are connected, and also provides clues about the operating system, as you can see. The running scripts outputs of this particular scan shows um, script information for the open ports. For example, the FTP SMB shares, as well as the HTTP headers. Network details include protocol that is used, and sometimes the hardware that is addressed or the device that's available for the open ports. The next scan that was performed for this presentation was a NICTO scan of the Metasploitable 2 virtual machine. As you can see, the results show a scan that gives details about port 80. It provides a comprehensive assessment of the web server security posture in detecting known vulnerabilities, dangerous or misconfigured files, server configuration issues, as well as the version information. The next scan of this presentation is a OWASP ZAP scan I performed against the target machine, which is the Metasploitable 2. It provides all the vulnerabilities that's associated with the target machine. One of the vulnerabilities found with the OWASP ZAP scan was the path traversal attack technique, which allows attackers to access files, directories, and commands that could potentially reside outside the web document root directory. The risk for this vulnerability was rated high, and the confidence was medium. Any device that exposes an HTTP-based interface is potentially vulnerable to this attack. The next vulnerability I found on the OWASP ZAP scan, a cookie has been set without the HTTP only flag, which means that the cookie can be accessed by JavaScript. If a malicious script can be run on this page, then the cookie will be accessible and can be transmitted to another site. If this is a session cookie, then the session hijacking may be possible. This is a vulnerability that attackers can use to send information to a different site, basically through cross-site scripting. The final vulnerability I found that I'm going to use during this presentation is the web application server is leaking version information via the server HTTP response header. Access to such information may facilitate attackers identifying other vulnerabilities your web application server is subject to. The next task of this presentation over the next 3 slides is information that I use to gain root access through port 21 of the Metasploitable 2 VM. After gaining root access to the system, you can see I gave a command of pwd, which allowed me to see the directory I had access to. After that, I gave the command of ls/l, and it shows the file folders and other information that was gained. This final slide for the root access shows a screenshot of the Kali and the Metasploitable 2 with the open files that were exploited through the back door. This is an easy way to shadow the passwords and other file information associated with port 21's vulnerabilities. The countermeasures for this particular vulnerability would include to uninstall or disable the VSFTPD 234, which contains the malicious backdoor attack. Another option would be to restrict the FTP server and access altogether. Just disconnect the affected servers from the network. Strategies for vulnerability mitigation of conducted scans. For the path traversal attack vulnerability, which is high risk, this vulnerability can be effectively fixed through a combination of input validation, secure coding practices, or just simply hardening the system to prevent unauthorized access. These measures can protect sensitive data and prevent unauthorized access. For the cookie no HTTP only flag, which is a low risk vulnerability, to fix this vulnerability, I need to make sure that my cookies are set to HTTP only attribute. This measure will ensure that the cookies cannot be accessed by client-side scripts to prevent session hijacking by way of cross-site scripting. For the web application server is leaking version information, which is another low-risk vulnerability. To fix this vulnerability, the best thing to do is to update or patch the software. Another option is to modify the server configurations using a web application firewall, which will provide an additional way to manage the headers and defend against an attack. How strategy reduces risk. By identifying, assessing, and mitigating potential threats along with the organization's objectives, continuous monitoring and regular review of the operating environment, the integration of overall strategy for the organization, and resources allocation. How strategy hardens the system. Point 1, reducing the attack surface by way of closing ports or removing unused applications. Enforcing access privileges to prevent unauthorized access. Utilizing industry-recognized cybersecurity frameworks. And regularly updating software and applying patching when needed. Part D of this presentation are a few updates that were made to the system. This first screenshot shows the beginning fixes of an SSH vulnerability that was found in the target machine. By running the command service SSH status, it showed that the status was disabled. To open, I gave a command of service SSH start, which you can see it's now enabled. The second screenshot shows that I gained access to the Metasploitable from the Kali machine using the command telnet and the target IP address, and I entered the username and password to log in. This is a vulnerability that is easily exploited through port 23. Slide 2 of 3 of the updates for part D. This first screenshot shows me logging into Metasploitable 2 and changing the access privileges to admin. This is the start of being able to fix the vulnerability associated with port 23. The second screenshot shows me enabling the firewall to port 23, and it needed to be enabled in order to address the issue of gaining access elsewhere. This third screenshot is showing port 23 is now closed for access in Metasploitable 2. Slide 3 of 3 for part D updates. This is a screenshot of the Kali VM and the command, which is telnet 192.168.216.6, which grants access to the Metasploitable 2 VM. By closing the port, access is now disabled from other locations, clearing up the vulnerability that was easily exploited. And this second screenshot just basically shows that I changed everything back to allow access again from another location. Part D of the scan update. As noted at the beginning of this presentation, you saw all of the open ports that could be easily exploited and the possible vulnerabilities. After doing a little research, the only thing I could do was basically close the unused ports that were open. As you can see in this scan, there are now only 2 ports that are open for use, which basically harden the system. Part E of this presentation is the changes, expected results, and lessons learned. Changes. Implementing changes to the virtual machine helped me learn about the security aspect of handling vulnerabilities. Unauthorized access prevention is the key to making sure attackers cannot cause damage or exploit the vulnerabilities. Making sure software is updated and is also a way of implementing change. Expected results. The expected results from start to finish was to recognize vulnerabilities during the use of applications for scanning to address the vulnerabilities. Some of the vulnerabilities had high, medium, and low risk. Addressing them accordingly will help the process. My actual results ended up with some issues, but closing certain ports is what ended up happening. The lessons learned. One key lesson came from closing ports in the Metasploitable 2, which helped minimize the attack surface. This option helps reduce the number of entry points for attackers. Another lesson learned was how important updates to the system are. Being able to have a layered defense as well is also key. Being proactive in this matter underscores the importance of having a secure environment. Here are the list of references I used during this presentation, and this concludes the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.